What's going on, Crazy Will's family? I'm here with my buddy Andrew Gearin, and we're going to talk about guitar taking and dock building and where he's at now, where he plans to go with his Live Nation career. So, how did you get into dock building, and what are the similarities between dock building and what you hope to do in the future?
Uh, I got into dock building. I'm what you would call a jack of all trades. Very ADHD, can't do one thing and not get bored with it. So growing up, I've have background in construction and all that. And before I did dock building, I was grading, with heavy equipment and stuff. And about 8 years ago, my brother started doing it, and I'm like, oh, that's gotta be cool. Be out in the water all the time. So started doing it, and you know, done off and on all together. It's about 9 years of dock work I've been doing, and I've tried different jobs, but that seems to be the one that's always sucked me back in. I enjoy it. You know, it's fun in the summertime. You can swim when you want, but the wintertime, it's like deadliest catch, man. It's a whole different ball game.
That sounds like fun because I know I like to skydive and do all kind of crazy stuff. So if you need anybody help in the wintertime, if I could, I'd be doing it because I like the crazy and wild side of life. But I know you're gonna. You said you're gonna be getting into Live Nation, and you've done some stuff with them. I know we met through Scott Bowling. I was on his podcast, and if you guys check that out, he interviews all the rock stars and stuff like that. So, what was that like? How did you get into working with Live Nation, and what's the similarity, and what do you like about doing it?
You talking about like how I met Scott, or
Yeah, like how did you meet Scott, and how did that lead you to working with Live Nation? Or is there any correlation?
so that one's that's actually a lucky story there. About I've known Scott 7 years now, so 2018, I was out on the lake working on a dock, and the lake over here, Lake Lanier, they got a Facebook page called Lake Lanier Boaters Group, and I was just happened to look through it and stuff, and I seen this picture of Head from Corn on a pontoon boat on Lake Lanier, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing in Gainesville? So I was looked up Scott's profile and stuff, and seeing he was like doing interviews and stuff like that. I'm like, So sent him a friend request. Uh, he accepted it right back, and about a year I was watching this stuff online. One day, I just happened to ask him. I'm like, "Can you think I could come check out one of these interviews?" He's like, "Absolutely." Well, the first interview that I went to was with Kyle Sanders of Hell Yeah, and who owns the Let There Be Rock School here in Gainesville too, as well. And so he sends me his address, and I look it up, and I freak out. I'm like, this dude's in my backyard with all these musicians I grew up listening to.
That's
So
pretty.
he actually lived one street over from me,
That's
and
pretty.
yeah, after that day, man, he would invite me back to the next interview, the next one, and we just ended up becoming really good friends and stuff. And now he's like my brother.
Oh, that's cool. So you've told me that you took musicians to the airport and things like that. What was
He-
the hardest part of doing that? Or any kind of interesting story you can tell from the interaction you had from doing that?
I would say the hardest part, honestly, was to drive normal, not like a race car driver. I got a lead foot sometimes when I drive, and um, you know, when I first started doing it, I would think like I would be getting nervous. Like the first time I met Head, I was nervous the whole time before I met him, and then when I finally seen him, it's like I just calmed down. And it was like, oh, just treated him normal.
That's awesome.
He was with open arms and stuff, really cool. So I think that helped a little bit.
That's awesome. So, um, what do you hope to do with Live Nation? You said, what is your job going to be? Your guitar taking, and how did you get involved with that?
So guitar teching, that came about. So that first interview that Scott did when I was there with Kyle Sanders of Hell Yeah, Kyle opened up a music school literally right next door to my dot company I work for. And I was his first, he calls me the OG student. I was his first student there. And I took lessons there for about a year and everything. And when after Vinny passed away, and Kyle opened that school up, uh, and he would have Hell Yeah was going back on tour to commemorate Vinny's life and stuff like that. And they would rehearse there at the school. And I just happened to be watching his guitar tech and stuff, work on the guitars and everything and stuff like that. And it caught my interest. So from then on, I just like researched it, bought old guitars, started tried working on myself and everything like that. And you know, I got to networking, meeting people, and become good friends with P King, who was Vinnie Paul's drum tech, and is Art's drum tech of Lamb of God and stuff. So, you know, I guess he's the guy that really made me want to pursue my teching skills and stuff.
Okay. So has this always been a passion of yours to be a tech, or just work in the music industry altogether?
Just being in the music industry altogether, like the I guess rock side of it. You know,
Yeah,
that's my favorite genre of music.
yeah. We're the same way. I know I've seen videos of you playing guitar, and it's really awesome that you really built this connection. And I think it's really important for people that don't know anything about the music industry. And it don't matter what industry you go into, you gotta follow your dreams and just network. That's what I always tell people: networking. And I know I have a lot of people that watch my podcast and listen to it that have disabilities, and they're like, "What am I gonna do now? I have a disability." I'm like, "Look, just go with what you know and pursue your dreams, no matter whether you have a physical challenge or anything like that. You just go for it. You just network, and it may take a little time to get there, but you get to where you want to be."
That's right, man. You can't let nothing hold you back. I mean,
Yeah,
people who know just met me like in my life the past couple of years, they don't know the old me. Like, you know, my life ain't always been nice and everything like that. I mean, I grew up with nothing. You
yeah,
know, my mom single, my mom raising my two brothers and my sister, and you know, it was a hard struggle just seeing her struggle when I was a kid. And
yeah.
you know, I never thought, I tell people it's like not in a million years from me knowing how my life was when I was a kid that I would become friends with the guys in Corn who actually inspired me to start listening to metal music and stuff. And it was by accident.
That had to be crazy. The first time you listen to Corn, you're in your room, and then you go over to Scott's house, and you make that connection. You're over there hanging out with Behead. I know that had to be kind of weird at first. Not weird in the like, oh, but a weird way, like, oh wow, I never thought I'd meet these dudes.
Yeah, that's especially since I've had a good relationship with Ray of Corn. That's who I'm more good friends with than any of them. I know him better. Like we stay in contact all the time. And
Oh,
he and as I was telling somebody, I was like, I remember when Freak on the Leash music video came out. I was like 8 or 9 years old. And it was the weekend because I remember it was the morning time and I was like looking for cartoons or something. And the Freak on the Leash music video, it was the beginning of it with a girl playing hopscotch or whatever.
yeah.
And I thought it was a cartoon. And I'm like, what is this? And then I just never changed it. I just kept watching it, seeing it was a Corn video. And just to go back and still think that, like, that is something I never in a million years would dream of. Like, this big band and then me knowing them like I do, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy how life can get you somewhere else you never thought you'd be. So, what is the hardest challenge of meeting a celebrity and putting yourself in that spot? How's it make you feel when you're first in the opportunity to be in that area?
Um, really, I guess I could say it don't really like I don't fanboy out at all because when growing up, my uncle he knew some old school Southern rock, big musicians and stuff like the Outlaws, Leonard Skinner and stuff, and he always taught me going growing up like just treat them like a normal person. That's all they want to be, you know. Just treat them like a normal person. So anytime I meet these big musicians and stuff, like I don't even see them as famous people. I just see them as one of my friends.
That's cool. So you said you worked on Scott's podcast in the background. So what was your job on the podcast, and what have you learned from doing that job? And how has it helped you get where you are today?
I'm well, still kind of am, even though he don't physically film like the episodes like we were doing at the time being. But I was his assistant, so runner guy assistant. Um, if I needed to go to the airport, pick up the guests, I'd go get them, take them to the airport or the hotel. You know, whatever their needs were, I was the guy transporting them around. And I remember one night he had who was it? Um, I think it was Tim Williams from uh oh, what's that band's name? It was Kyle Sanders' band. He was in. I can't remember, but the name of the band. But one of the artists, Scott called me like at 3 in the morning. I was at home asleep. He's like, I can't find an Uber to get these guys at the hotel. Um, can you come pick them up? And at the time, I had a Colorado truck, and I didn't have a back seat in it, but it was just a big open floorboard with my speakers and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I can run them up to the hotel here in town. And I get there, and I told him like I ain't got a back seat. So Tim, the singer of the band, I wish I could figure out the name of that band. Hold on, I'll tell you. Um,
I can't think of it either. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it either. I'm drawing the blank myself.
I'm having a brain fart bad right now. Dang. Let's see. I can't find it. But anyways, the singer Scott was interviewing him, and I'm like, I ain't got a back. He had his wife with him, and then he told his wife to get in the front seat. Tim's like, yeah, I'll just sit in the back floorboard. I've had worse on tour. So I'm driving down the road, and his wife starts talking. She goes, yeah, I design and make dresses for Beyonce and J Lo and all of them. And I'm just like, and I got your husband in the back floorboard of my truck.
That's crazy. That's a funny story.
But
So he,
they like I said, like the stuff that people do, like they're humble. They don't think they're better than nobody. Even Corn, those guys right there, like they don't have no chip on their shoulder whatsoever. Like, I mean, they're great people. All the people Scott's interviewed are great people. Like, they definitely don't forget where they come from in life.
that's awesome. So I know you were backstage with Scott at the last corner show. And for those that don't know what it's like backstage, I know I've been backstage once with the Morgan Rose at Seven Desk. But for those that don't know what it's like backstage, can you paint a picture of what that's like and what life is like when you're on stage touring in a band that stops in a city like that?
Uh Honestly, since I've been able to be backstage at these shows and stuff, like so Brian's the one that told me they're nothing. I mean, back in the day, yeah, they were wild. It was wild and everything backstage and all that stuff. But now it's mostly just like a business like setting. Like,
So there's no drugs, no alcohol, none.
I mean, there might be
No,
if the band drinks, there be some beer and stuff. Don't see drugs. I mean, you're gonna smell weed. I mean, who don't smoke weed?
yeah,
But no, it's really just chill and hang out with them and stuff like that. And all family and friends are back there with them, and you know, they had told me, he goes, you know, when all the wild, crazy stuff stopped in the backstage era? And I'm like, when? He goes, when these camera phones come out. He
I
goes, when that shit come out, he goes, everything stopped.
I
He goes,
bet.
because everybody wants to post everything.
Yeah, because they want to have that moment with their famous rock star. Oh, we were backstage and we partied. This happened. This happened. So they want to get it on video. Because now nobody really helps you do anything. They always want to be on their phone and record. So they know they're gonna get caught. So they don't do it anymore. So where is a challenging place that you never thought you would be, or at a show and you never thought you would be, but you got there because of your determination? You never gave up.
What was that question?
I said, where was a place at a show or a place that you never thought you'd be, but you never gave up, and because of your determination, you were able to get there?
Oh, a show that I never thought I would get to see.
No, that a
Um,
place like backstage or anything that you never
Oh,
thought.
that would have been so that would have been the Corn and Alice in Chains tour. That's when I first met all the guys in Corn and stuff. Scott had actually interviewed Head the day before that show, and I already knew I was going to go to the concert, but I didn't know I was going to go backstage. Neither did Scott till the end of that later that night. He's like, "You guys want to go backstage tomorrow at the show?" And we're like, "Hell yeah." So we go to Will Call. He has our tickets and passes and stuff for us. And, you know, that was my first thought. I'm like, man, it's going to be wild and crazy back there. And you get back there and you're like, it's like a family outing.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So, yeah. So, I mean,
That's awesome. So when you start working with Live Nation, where do you hope to go, and what do you hope to pursue? What do you hope to get out of it?
so when I was at the Following in Reverse show here in Atlanta last month, I was a guy come up asking me, he goes, uh, he actually thought I was working with the stagehand people, I guess, because of my attire and how my build. And I'm like, no, I don't. I was just looking for what was it? I was looking for my buddy, and I ended up down there in the back, and I was just trying to get directions where to go. And he goes, "You need a job?" And I'm like, "What kind of job?" And the guy goes, "Working for Live Nation. We need people to help us with rigging and stuff, and stage change outs and all that stuff." And he goes, if you want the job, I'll give it to you right now, send you the paperwork, because you would be the biggest built guy I would have on my crew working. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Wow.
Either a lot of heavy lifting but a friend of mine who's Adam Gontier's guitar tech for Saint Sonia and stuff, Derek, he told me for me to further pursue my career of wanting to be a full guitar tech for a band. He goes, get a job at your local, uh, amphitheater and stuff, be a stagehand, get to networking, getting to know all the people in the different bands, music industry, and all that stuff. And he said, you'll land you a job on tour with one of the bands eventually.
That's awesome.
So, I know I've already got a good network of people. I already know a lot of people in the music industry. And, I'm pretty dead set on knowing how to do everything on guitars and stuff. I still got to learn the technical side of them, like all this new stuff coming out. It's crazy. It ain't like amps and pedals and stuff no more. It's racks and a lot of digital stuff. Uh, but that's actually the only thing I'm lacking is, working at a amphitheater, getting familiar with the rest of the equipment and getting that experience. And
Awesome.
anybody can do it. Like, you don't have to have a degree in it or nothing.
You
You
just gotta
just gotta you're not never gonna know what you're good at unless you try it.
you just gotta know the right people and be at the right place at the right time.
Well, it's not even it's quite easy actually to get a job doing that kind of stuff now because they're lacking so many people because they're needing the help. And I can understand with COVID hitting a couple of years ago, it kind of put a dent in their employment stuff. But I mean, honestly, if you're wanting to do that, working the music industry and everything, just go to your local venue and stuff and just get on working there. And one thing can lead to another, depending on whether you want to take it that far or if you're just wanting to do one simple thing.
That's awesome. So if there's something you could tell your younger self now, what would it be?
Uh, what could I? What was the question? Sorry.
If there was something you could tell your younger self right now, if you were looking back at your younger self, what would it be?
I should have paid attention in school a lot more.
To pay attention
Well,
and
certain subjects, of course.
yeah. What's the hardest part of learning the new technology of guitars, and how do you think it'll help you pursue your career? What do you feel like you need to learn the most?
I think I need to learn like a lot of the the new guitar pickups, the new man, they just come out with so much new stuff for guitars and amps and that it's constantly evolving, getting more and more and more. And, honestly, I'm still trying to figure out like where I need to start at. So I bought me some guitar effects racks and stuff, built my own guitar effects rack and all that stuff. And, slowly but surely, when I got time, when I'm not working on docs, when I'm not working on docs, I'm here at home, studying, researching, figuring out how everything works with these racks and guitars and the new pickups. I've even custom done some guitars of, for myself. Go buy, crappy guitars or something and just turn them into like real good guitars with better pickups and stuff like that.
Awesome. So, what is the number one thing that people need to know before they pursue a career like this that they need to kind of get themselves used to before they want go into doing a career like you're about to do?
Uh, get over being homesick and be prepared to have little sleep. And if you're passionate as I am about it, that stuff ain't going to matter to you
That's pretty.
because when you're doing a job that you love with a passion, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's awesome. So, if there's anything you would want to say to the people as we wrap the interview up, what would that be?
Don't give up on your dreams and don't never think nothing awesome can happen to you in life because it will. It's just with the right time. Like how my life was growing up, being a recovering drug addict and stuff myself. Uh, I was even being homeless for like 6 months years ago.
Oh
Things
wow.
can, yeah, yeah, things can change in your life,
Uh,
and I never would think I'd have a nice house now. You know, doing the music stuff, doing things that I never would have dreamed of doing that I love. Just don't give up on it. You just got to have that right mindset and know what you want in life, and
so,
don't let nothing hold you back.
so would you say the music is what kept you off the drugs and got you on the right side of life? I guess, as we could say.
That is what's kept me on the straight path since then. Yes, I've
That's that,
see. Yeah, I was 2014 since I've been sober.
that's awesome. See, it doesn't matter, people, if you have a disability or if you're going through struggles in life. If you just pursue your dreams and you do what you got to do, you can do anything you want to do. This man came from building docks, and now he's about to go into his lifelong, I guess, hopes and dreams of being a musician and working in that area. And now he's doing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it was good talking to you, Andrew, and we look forward to having you on again sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Thank you.
No problem.